39 years ago, in 1972, President Nixon signed into law Title IX, which barred gender discrimination in schools in the United States that received federal funding. For girls longing to play sports, Title IX made that a reality. In 1972, 1 in 27 high school girls played organized sports, but today it's 1 in 3. The other 2 are getting far less exercise than their 1972 counterparts. According to the Women's Sports Foundation, the last 39 years, the physical education system for children has crumbled. Title IX is most well known for increasing women's participation in sports. In 1971, only 294,000 girls participated in high school athletics. According to the U.S. Department of Education, today, over 2.7 million girls participate in high school athletics. That's an increase of 847%. However, males are still the majority of high school and college athletes. Title IX got us all in the game. Now, we need to make sure no one is left on the bench. Title IX is a federal law that prohibits gender discrimination in any educational program of activity at any educational institution that is a recipient of federal funds of the Education Amendments of 1972. Title IX also prohibits all forms of gender discrimination in federally funded educational institutions, including sexual harassment, discrimination in admissions, and counseling. In Birch Bay's 18 years in the Senate, he was a very loyal supporter of women's rights, introducing not only Title IX in the Senate, but he also introduced the Equal Rights Amendment. Title IX is applied to athletics in 3 basic parts. Participation requires that women be provided an equitable opportunity to participate in sports as men. Not necessarily the identical sports, but an equal opportunity to play. Scholarships require that female athletes receive athletic scholarship dollars proportional to their participation. Other benefits require equal treatment in the provision of equipment and supplies, scheduling of games and practice times, travel and daily allowance, access to tutoring, coaching, and locker rooms. Title IX of the Education Amendments of 1972 protects people from discrimination based on sex in education programs or activities which receive federal financial assistance. Title IX states that
no person in the United States
shall, on the basis of sex,
be excluded from participation in,
be denied the benefits of,
or be subjected to discrimination
under any education program
or activity receiving federal financial assistance.
One of Edith Green's most enduring legislative triumphs was Title IX, a part of the 1972 Higher Education Act that prohibited federally funded colleges and universities from discriminating against women. As chair of the Subcommittee on Higher Education of the Education and Labor Committee, Green presided over 7 days of hearings in which a wide range of witnesses explained the various ways women face discrimination in post-secondary education. She set the tone for the proceedings when she exclaimed, "Let us not deceive ourselves. Our educational institutions have proven to be no support of democracy." Green overcame opposition from many university administrators as well as from conservative congressmen who feared the proposed bill would force school officials to construct unisex locker rooms and admit an equal number of male and female students. When reflecting upon the passage of Title IX, she stated, "I don't know when I have ever been so pleased because I had worked so long and it had been such a tough battle." Although Green did much to advance the rights of women, she did not always place this issue ahead of all others. For instance, because of her ardent commitment to civil rights legislation, she voted against the inclusion of the word sex in Civil Rights Act because she feared it might help destroy the bill.
Title IX covers state and local agencies that receive educational funds. These agencies include approximately 16,000 local school districts, 3,200 colleges and universities, and 5,000 for-profit schools, as well as libraries and museums. Also included are vocational rehabilitation agencies and education agencies of 50 states, the District of Columbia, and territories and possessions of the United States.
The Office for Civil Rights and Education is responsible for enforcing Title IX. The OCR's responsibility to ensure that institutions which receive education funds comply with Title IX is carried out through compliance enforcement. The principal enforcement activity is the investigation and resolution of complaints filed by people alleging sex discrimination. The OCR also informs students and their parents and those who apply for admission to academic programs of their rights under Title IX. Also through agency-initiated reviews of selected recipients, OCR is able to identify and remedy sex discrimination which may not be addressed through complaint investigation. A year after Title IX's inception, Billie Jean King beat Bobby Riggs in the famous Battle of the Sexes tennis match in the Astrodome. Throughout her professional career, Billie Jean King has been an outspoken advocate of women's rights in sports, founding the Women's Tennis Association and the Women's Sports Foundation. Title IX was successful. At the time Title IX was enacted, discriminating against women was common in college, while girls in high school and women in college had few athletic opportunities. But a lot has changed since Title IX, partially because Title IX was effective. Physical education is no longer mandatory in most states. Many parents are afraid to send kids outside for unsupervised play, so they end up staring at TV and computer screens. The problem is most severe for lower income, African American, and Hispanic girls whose parents may not have access to affordable programs. Title IX benefits everyone: girls and boys, women, and men. The law requires educational institutions to maintain policies, practices, and programs that do not discriminate against anyone on the basis of gender. Elimination of discrimination against women and girls has received more attention because females have historically faced greater gender restrictions and barriers in education. So in the end, Title IX was effective. There was a big change. Girls won the debate of Title IX, and girls are now able to play sports, not just in a classroom or in the grass in their backyard, but on a court and in an actual gym. Because of Title IX, women, men, girls, and boys are able to play sports equally.